Well, how's everyone doing? This is Bob Gumbs, and I'm bringing you the Concerned Forum. I hope so far everyone has enjoyed their holiday week. And surely, because we're taping this, and it's Tuesday, and let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday, and Turkey Day is this Thursday. So let's make sure that we don't overeat ourselves. And let's bear in mind, in spite of everything going on, we still have a lot to be thankful for in this country. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the things that really ticks me off, and it should tick you off also. I am very tired of the way that certain politicians take a situation as what's happening over in Israel/Palestine and, trying to use it for political fodder, right? Now, I said something the other day, and I think I need to repeat myself. The greatest threat that faces American democracy is today's, listen very carefully to what I'm saying now, because I don't want to be misquoted. The greatest threat facing American democracy is today's Republican Party. What do I mean by that? Well, essentially the Republican Party of today has seen fit to run away from what they used to call their basic principles. Book burning, censoring of books, telling people how to think, going into people's bedrooms, that sort of thing. Going into people's private conferences with their doctors. The Republican Party that I grew up in, that my parents were a part of, would never stand for that. As a matter of fact, quite a few Republican representatives fought for the Equal Rights Bill, the Equal Rights Amendment. So many things have changed. Oh, and one other thing. They did not allow these fundamentalist freaks, that's what I consider many of them to be, so-called right-wing fundamentalists. They would not allow them to basically run the party to the extent that the madman that is the leader of the party basically is up there because of the fundamentalist religious people. I'm disappointed with my party, the Democratic Party, because I'm a registered Democrat, and I tell people nowadays, the Republican Party is basically the party of the fascists. The Democratic Party, we are basically on the side of the angels. Now, I don't give a damn if you believe that or not, but I find it mighty damn funny that most of the issues that the Democratic Party believes in, mostly, gun control, choice, etc., they fall in line with the mass majority of the American people. So I don't think that I'm being hyperbolic when I say this. The Republican Party is not American. Their views are not American. And what are American views? Well, American views are basically, we base that upon the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And see, people need to understand something. All we have in this country, because we are unique, and you know, the conservatives were right on that one. America is unique, but they have us as being unique for the wrong reasons. But we are unique because what do we have? We have the flag, we have our Declaration, and we have our Constitution. That's what binds us, nothing else. Because we're all different. We all come from different places. Even those of us who come from the same place originally are different. So it's those three things. And when I see religious fundamentalists getting behind a guy that says, well, he don't give a damn about the Constitution. He wants to tear it up because it doesn't suit him. Well, now, I understand that to be treason. At the very least, he advocates breaking the law. So how is it that people who claim to be religious, well, you're supporting a guy because he wants to break our laws. There's a way that we do things in this country. We didn't like the way, and when I say we, I'm speaking symbolically, because people of color and women didn't have a choice in it, but hey, that was then, this is now. But we still have we still are bound by the same laws. Now, if you want to change those laws, we have the right to do that. That's called elections. See. Let me see. What did it say in the Declaration? We have the right to alter or to abolish it, and to lay new foundation along those lines, right? So some guy says, well, hey, when I'm president, I want to tear up the laws that have governed this country. Okay, fine. I never heard him say, hey, I want to go out there and I want to campaign and I want to convince the American people that the Constitution is wrong. And I want to change it. I want to take that out. I want to put this in, so on and so forth. Well, yeah, buddy, you can do that, but that's called an election. That's called going through the legislature. And the folks in the legislature are people that we elect. So when you say that you just want to tear everything up, basically, then you want to be a lawbreaker. And I'm sorry, we cannot get with that. You know, that's the first thing. Second thing, I don't care for people that want to try to, use religion as a guise to cover up their bigotry. Hey, man, have respect for yourself. Just come out. I'm a bigot. Okay, fine, but don't put Jesus. Don't attach Jesus to it, right? Quite frankly, when's the last time you heard one of these suckers on one of those TV doohickeys talking about, in their big super churches, right? When's the last time you heard somebody one of them talking about the Sermon on the Mount? So that's the thing that really, I don't know, really trips me out about religion in America, and how this is why we don't really like to get into religion in the body politic. I know the Republicans are the ones that started that crap. I think that they're going to come to regret it. And see, that's the problem that we have now in this country. Oh, and by the way, January 6th, yeah, it's called an insurrection. And that's exactly what happened. We had an insurrection. You even had people out there with, big crosses. I mean, what's that all about? And see, something else, I don't like being played, right? I don't like people who try to make suckers out of the American people. And that's all Trump and his little friends in the Republican Party have been doing for the last several years. And what did Lincoln say? You can fool some of the people some of the time, and you can fool all of the people some of the time. But you can't fool all the people all of the time. And that's what we have here in the United States. Now, I support the state of Israel. Okay? However, I also support the rights of the people, what we call them now, Palestinians. They have rights also. And we have to keep that in mind. You got to remember something. We are Americans. Okay? We are Americans. And we have a certain basic set of beliefs. One of those beliefs is that people be treated fairly and honestly. And I tell you, this whole, if I guess I should be used to people being upset with me. But honesty is honesty and right is right. This whole project, the idea of a Jewish state, the way that it was done, I think it was Albert Einstein and a few other people who pointed out that the way that this was being done was full of peril. Because you cannot just forget about the other people that live there. And I see this business about new settlements and people being moved out of their homes. And to me, when you do things like that, you're basically asking for trouble. And that's wrong. I think that the Palestinians, those who believe that Israel, how would you say it? Judah delende es? That's kind of a very bad imitation of Cato when he always closed every speech with, Carthage must be destroyed. And, I assume you have people on the other side that are saying the same thing about Israel, that Israel must be destroyed. That's ignorant, okay? That is ignorant. You have three groups. You have Jewish people, you have Christian people, and you have the Islamic people. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, I have my own spiritual beliefs. I am not a religious person. I believe that what people have done with religion, I think it's a disgrace. I'm guessing because I don't know, but I I'm pretty sure the Creator is not happy when he sees some of the things that take place in his name. And I think that this whole Middle East situation is one of them. And as an American, I say that if we're going to do anything in that part of the world, it has to be about making peace and making sure that anyone in that part of the world does not start a bloody war. You know, people wonder, well, gee, why are you got wars breaking out all over the place. Why are you so upset about the Middle East? America's got 2 gigantic aircraft carriers over there and Marines all over the joint. Well, look, there are certain trigger points, right, that could basically put us on the road to a thermonuclear war. The Middle East is one of them. So, as an American, I want to make sure that my country is doing the right thing. And I tell you what else really, oh God. All right, let me be cool here. This anti-Semite thing. Anybody that is still running around carrying a torch for this anti-Semitic nonsense, you know, they deserve to be whipped and locked up in an outhouse somewhere and forgotten about for the time, you know, for the time being, quite frankly. It's wrong, okay? It's wrong. People, you know, they're not responsible for who they are. There's no little computer or something. I mean, maybe there is, but I've never seen it, that says, okay, you can be born Julius Caesar, or you can be born, you know, I don't know, Augustus Caesar, or you can be born Shaka Zulu. We don't have that capability. So you are basically stuck with who you are born. And it is wrong as hell to want to attack people, assault people for who they are, for what they're born, or how they're born. You know, you're born what we call black, or white, or Asian, or Southwestern Asian. I mean, you know, you can be born an indigenous person in North and South America. You know, we don't have a choice. So why should I hate you because of something that you were born? When you sit down and think about it, it's not logical. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons why it's not always true. But people, you know, they give it this idea that really super intelligent people cannot be spiritual. Well, that's nonsense. But what it is, and any intelligent person will know, can tell you, listen, I mean, he's not responsible for what his grandparents did or his great-grandparents. he's only responsible, or she is only responsible for what they do now. And see, I think that is where a lot of the confusion comes in. Not just talking about the Palestinian-Israeli thing, but on a lot of subjects dealing with culture and its effects. You know, that's just like here in America. Well, I'm not responsible. I don't own slaves. No, bonehead, no one said that you did. However, if you are somehow benefiting from what your great-great-great-grandparents did, and you perpetuate that nonsense, then yeah, there is responsibility there. And I think that's what people need to flesh out. That's what people need to get across. Now, in 1947, a lot of innocent people who happened to be Palestinian got hurt, got killed, got dispossessed. And before 1947, a lot of innocent Jewish people were murdered. I'm not even going to talk about their property and land being taken. I mean, my God, these people, they wound up in gas chambers. And that movie, Schindler's List, that was, how should I put it? That he dealt with that whole Holocaust thing. I'm not going to say gently, but it was actually, if you really study what happened in Central Europe with the Nazis, it was worse than Schindler's List. Believe me. But see, here, you know, this is the problem. Now, like most people who love literature, right, and have a historical bent, I'm into the British Isles. I'm into Great Britain. You know, I mean, I've even attempted to look up my ancestry. On the African side, the Caribbean, and from the British side. But as much respect as we have for Great Britain, because, you know, it's funny, even when we don't agree with the Brits, we respect the hell out of them. It's just, you know, it's just one of those things. However, this is something I believe that they have responsibility for this. Okay, the way that this whole thing was with Balfour and all those other guys, it was done terribly wrong. See, and why no one actually of stature sat down and said, "Listen, man, you know, this was just a tape job, okay, a Band-Aid." Right? That might be a better way to put it. This was just a Band-Aid job. We have to sit down at a table and we have to fix this damn thing. Otherwise, it's going to be nothing but trouble. Now, I don't like it when you come on campus and, you know, you start trying to police what people are saying on the college campus. As a matter of fact, one of the most asinine things that's happened on many American campuses, on university, you know, in universities, was this idea of a safe space. That is terrible. Frankly, those kids who make it to the middle class and who are able to make it to a university in some respects, we treat them too much kid gloves. There's no safe space in life. I wish there was, but there's not. And we need to stop treating people or training people in that, in that effect that, okay, well, here at Jughead University, we have a safe space. No, you shouldn't do that. Now, maybe, and I guess this is where the old geezer comes out, but you got to remember, I'm part of a generation where we had 18 and 19-year-old kids dying in rice paddies. And they, in many cases, were the kids and grandkids of 17 and 18-year-olds who wound up dead on the beach on Normandy or Iwo Jima or Guadalcanal. So the idea that some 20, 21-year-old needs to have a safe space so he can hear, quote unquote, abusive things, I'm sorry, man, that's a bit much. People need to learn about respectful conversation, number one. One way or the other. Now, the idiots and the stupid, bloodthirsty idiots that want to kill people because they happen to be Jewish, they need to be in a cell. It's just that simple. And people who want to attack Palestinians, they need to be, as a matter of fact, they need to share the same cell, quite frankly. Maybe that way they will get the full meaning of, of what brotherhood really means, But I hate to see this kind of crap. I really do. I love the Navy. And somebody's out there saying right now, where the hell is this coming from? Well, I love the Navy. But the unit that I went through the second Gulf War with, the first Gulf War with, I was so glad to go to get overseas after, who was it, Saddam Hussein. I was elated, even though through that whole evolution, I lost some friends, one or two friends. Oh yeah, Navy, we lost, because when you're talking about nowadays moving the fleet, also, having amphibious outfits and everything like that. Well, hell, the Navy's a tough gig. Navy and Marine Corps, that's about as tough as it gets. Outside of being like special operations. Because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with machinery, 1,000,001 pieces, trying to make them all fit together. And hey, shit happens, as they say. People drown, people get blown up, and we had quite a bit of that. When the man says serve your country, that's exactly what he means. You serve your country, even at the risk and peril of your life. Although we know that's another thing we're going to talk about with Donald Trump, who thinks that all of us who served in the military, who got killed or became disabled, that we're a bunch of losers, according to Donald Trump. But anyway, yeah, I love the Navy. But the last squadron, or the last unit that I was in, it was full of a lot of anti-Semites. And it was located in a very racist, anti-Semitic town. I'm speaking of Jacksonville, Florida. and I'm talking about the 80s into the early. Well, in the case of the unit, I would say all through the 80s, and it was bad. It was bad. I think because I had a lot of other things going on. I was getting ready to have, my wife and myself were getting ready to have our son, and she was kind of, her health was not as good as it should be. And I mean, you ladies know about that sometimes what is it, with the diabetes and everything. I forgot how her thing was, kept crashing. And so I had that, pushing on me. And I made a bad decision. I left active duty and went over to the reserves. But I wish that there was not so much hatred. I mean, words I heard to describe Hispanic people, Latino people, I had never heard used. I'm born and raised in the projects in New York City. And I never heard of the words that were used to describe Latino people and Jewish people. And I mean, I knew what they were saying about me, because that was one of those squads where you had very few people, men of color, and I say men at that time, that's what it was. We're talking 88, 89, 90. But it's disgusting. When a human being shapes his mouth or shapes her mouth to say such things, I don't know, maybe they should lose the power of speech for a while, because, well, it was rough, but I dealt with it. But I think that if we had had a more conducive atmosphere, I'm talking about conducive in the sense that we were in the United States Navy and not a part of the Third Reich, I think that I would have probably stayed active regular. But I just say all that to say I understand anti-Semitism. When I say I understand, what I'm saying is I understand the pain and the hurt. I understand this anti-immigrant thing. Again, when I say I understand, I mean that I understand the hurt and anger that those words can cause. That those words do cause. See, once you get into this mindset, well, that person's a Jew, so screw him, I don't have to listen to that person. First thing you're doing is you are basically cutting yourself off from a source of information, regardless of the subject. When you start turning people off because of how they look or, who they descend from. And that's the same thing when you're talking about Latino people. Now, I know the only reason that, well, most of them were gutless wonders because they would never confront me with, the N-word, as we like to say now. They would never bring that to my face. But things got back to me. But I say this just to say that I understand. And I would also say something else too. Israel, by the grace of God, is a free, sovereign nation. Okay? Just like America is a free, sovereign nation. I disagree with a bunch of American politicians, with a bunch of elected leaders here in the United States. Asian, Caucasian, Hispanic, Black. If I disagree with your point of view, I disagree with your point of view. Period. Doesn't mean I'm trying to, I just want to dump on you and your whole family back to the 20th generation. I just don't care. I don't believe in what you're putting out at this particular time. Doesn't mean I'm out to get you. And that's the same thing with the state of Israel. Yes, you have a right to exist. Yeah, I respect you as any sovereign nation should be respected. But because I disagree with you, that does not mean I hate your, I hate your culture, going back to prehistoric times or whatever. No, that's crazy. And that's that's one thing that I really have a problem with. If I disagree with something that Israel is doing, it's because I disagree with what the Knesset, that's their, Congress, Parliament, however, that's what they have there. We have our Congress, they have their Knesset. And if I disagree with their Knesset, doesn't make, I'm not doing it because maybe they're Jewish. I'm doing it because you did something that I disagree with. Doesn't make me an anti-Semite. Period. And we need to get away from this. My God. And I had no qualms going to my commanding officer and saying, listen, I do not like the anti-Latino and anti-Jewish comments that I'm hearing, especially out of people who are senior in rank to me and should know better. And yeah, I take that right to the CO after I took it to the XO, executive officer. So, because I don't think nowadays, because I don't think that, I always screw up this guy's name. They just call him Bibi for short, Netanyahu, their prime minister. I think his policies are not helping the state of Israel. I think that they're hurting the state of Israel. However, I don't like his policy. I don't like his politics. I don't give a damn what his religion is. If he was an Irish Catholic, I would dislike his politics. So, please, folks, we need to settle down, right? Now, I understand what Joe Biden is doing as president. And see, that's another part of the problem that we have. We got too many damn people who have too much visibility on the public stage who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And we also have too many people that they know what they're saying is crap, but they want to say it anyway because they feel they might derive some type of benefit from it. And I believe that's the problem that we have going down there now. Now, what Hamas did was disgusting. It's no way to fight a war. As a matter of fact, I don't understand. They have the resources. What Hamas needs to do, what they should have done is maybe go down to Park Avenue, was it Madison Avenue? That used to be the headquarters for public affairs type people, you know, and maybe get one of them. So they stop looking like a bunch of guerrillas, quite frankly. Now, everybody's going to fight for what they feel is theirs, okay? But there are ways to fight. And what Hamas did, I don't get, this thing about women and children. I just, no, I put it this way. I don't think we're going to solve the problems of the world by, putting kids in the line of fire, putting babies in the line of fire. But what I believe needs to happen, we need to have a ceasefire, and we need to get that big dust off the round table, and everybody that has skin in the game needs to be at that table. And it's no, it's no good saying, well, Israel or something. No. Look, we help Israel a lot, okay? The Brits help. France helps, right? And so do the Islamic nations over there. Everybody who has skin in the game needs to sit at that table. And what we need to do, we need to have a talk about what the hell started this crap in the first place. See, the only way you're going to fix something, you're going to have to sit down and say, well, wait a minute, how did this shit get broken? Why? You have to ask the why. And that's how we're going to find peace in the Middle East. See, so that's what we need to keep in mind. That's the first thing. Now, something else that bothers the hell out of me, and that is this business about between Biden and Trump. Biden is too old. Well, how the hell is Biden too old? Trump is about 2.5 years younger than Biden, okay? Now, you want to talk about Biden's competency. Well, legislatively, for the time that he's been in the White House, and don't get me wrong, now, I don't agree with some of the things that Biden has, with some of the stands that Biden has taken. He had the chance to get rid of that thing in the Senate. Was it the filibuster? He had a chance to get rid of the filibuster so that people in areas where they have been discriminated historically, ending the filibuster would have taken care of that. And there are states, especially in the South, where black people still have a hard time trying to vote. He feels there's a better way to do that. I disagree. Okay? But overall, Biden has gotten things done for the American people. He's got, what are you talking about? He has done about as much as a president could do. And see, this is what I mean when I talk about a knowledge base. A president can only do so much for the economy. I don't care if you're talking Republican, I don't care if you're talking Democrat, doesn't make a difference. There's only so much the president can do. But whatever it takes, or whatever a president is able to do, Biden has done it. Especially looking at the fact that we came out of about what, the second or third deadliest pandemic in the written history of this planet. I don't think that's pretty bad for an old guy. I know that there are more jobs. When was it? Oh, this is now November, October. I believe it was last month. We have not had low unemployment like what we had last month since 1969. Right? Since 1969. Who was president in 69? If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was, what was that, Nixon? So, I don't, all this crying and wailing about Joe Biden. So the guy is what, 81? So he ain't dead yet. I'm not interested in this guy doing modeling for men's bathing suits, okay? I'm not interested if he can still play football. Right? I am not interested whether or not he can still dance well. I don't care about none of that. But so far, for all appearances, he seems like he knows what the hell he's doing. I do know that all our friends, our allies overseas, have read a sigh of relief since they've done it twice so far that I've seen in the last 20 years. They did it when Obama was in the White House, and they have done it when Joe Biden has been in the White House. And both times, the American people were working, right? Both times, these guys saved the economy. Both of these guys. So, I want somebody to tell me what the hell Biden has done wrong. Now, of course, some Republicans, he just spent. Yeah, so what? You have a country of over 330 million people. Okay, different types of people, different agendas. And somehow a president has to be able to at least bring about a semblance of order. Okay? Now, I don't know what the Republicans, they only seem happy when the average working American is struggling like an SOB. That's the only time these guys are happy. The average American is struggling like all hell, and the banks and corporations are, living large. That's the only time Republicans are happy. Oh, and of course, with a few exceptions, they have all the women locked up in the damn kitchen or in the bed or in the nursery. That's what keeps them happy. They want people in their place. All right? They don't want people to strive. They don't want people and government holding hands and saying, you know what? We need each other because I am you and you are me. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? Well, in America, in the democracy, the people are the government. The government is the people. Because we are the ones that are supposedly in control. Because we choose the people who represent us in government. So this idea that somehow, well, America's going to hell because you have old Joe Biden in there. No, I'd say America has prevented from going to hell thanks to that old geezer down there at the White House. I don't, like I said, I don't want to hang out with the guy and party with the guy. Although when I look at the Republican side of the fence, I would much prefer an evening with Joe Biden than with just about any Republican they got on the other side. So this nonsense. I mean, it really, it's really astounding. And you read what people from overseas looking in on America, what they have to say. And it's wild, it truly is. They're, what the hell do Americans want? They're living 3 times better than we are. The only difference is that the folks over there, they do have a better quality of life. And the reason for that is because they don't let one party basically prevent those folks from being able to enjoy some of the basics. See, you don't have people basically selling themselves to pay college tuition, for God's sake, because all that kind of crap is not necessary in Western Europe, for example. And they're thankful enough. All that crap that Trump was talking about, oh, well, NATO doesn't do a damn thing and they're using us for suckers. No, the only person that's been playing that sucker game is you, Donald. And you've been playing the American people for suckers for far too long. And we have allowed you, especially I'm speaking now as a native New Yorker, we allowed you and your damn daddy to get away with it for all these years. And your butt should have been put down 20, 30 years ago. So if I wanted to talk about all the crap that you and your pop pulls, just on this, on New York State alone, it would be about a file about that damn tall. Oh, and another thing, let me tell you something else. Every time I see Trump, he has one of his stupid rallies, he runs over, he grabs the flag. I don't know if he's grabbing the flag or if he's trying to give himself an orgasm. I have no idea. But that really makes me so angry. It really does. And I'll tell you why. Because he'll stand up there and he'll say, oh, yeah, our beautiful country and blah, 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 blah. And no one has the courage to fight for our beautiful country to keep the immigrants out. This guy had a chance to put his money where his mouth was. 5 times, 5 damn times, when his country called. And what did Donald do? Donald said, well, I can't go now because I have a tutu on my foot and it hurts. So my doctor, who by the way my old man paid off, my doctor says that I'm not fit for military service. Now, I tell you quite frankly, as time has gone on over the last few years, I'm starting to believe that there might be a point to that. Because he's not fit to be a citizen as far as I'm concerned. And and he's definitely not fit to be in the military. I mean, I understand people that took stands and say, well, look, I don't believe in this war, blah, blah, blah. All Trump did was basically ignored the war. Hang down at that place, Regine's. I can't think of the other one. Nightclubs, right, discos. One was Regime's. And the other one, I didn't even think about it just now. But that's all he did. Meanwhile, kids from the tenements projects, from rural America, right? We're the ones that went in the military, not Donald. And now we know why. Because he says that anybody that served had to be some kind of loser. Right? Those are his words, not mine, folks. And you're going to tell me, and oh my God, I feel so, guys who have been in the military, when they say they support Trump, I admit that does hurt me. That in here, deep in here, that hurts because I feel that there's a common bond all veterans have with each other, because that means that at a point in our life, and maybe it was only one time, but there was that point in time where we put our love of country over that of our lives. And then to look at this whatever the hell you want to call him, and to hear him talk about America, I feel it's disgusting. It truly is. And I think it's time for real patriots to stand up and say enough is enough. And yes, he should be in jail for the things that he has been saying about the judges, court personnel, what have you. Because if it were you or I, that's where we would be. And folks, I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. It's raining out there. I'm going to try and beat traffic. So listen, thank you for having me in your home. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place, same channel. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And this is the Concerned Forum. Bob Gumbs. Catch you later. Bye.